And welcome, one and all. My name is Jason Davis, and this is Empower Volusia Common Sense. That's right. And we're coming to you from a hidden location in the Iron Bunker, guarded by, up on the highlands of West Volusia County, and we're guarded by 2 rabid Pomeranians and 1 crazy cat. And you can hear us right here on JasonDavisPodcast.com. You can hear us also on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter. We're getting everywhere we can be. I'll tell you what, it's all over the place, and people are listening, and I have to say, a lot of the things I say are being repeated almost verbatim out there on the national side of conservative politics, and thanks, guys, I appreciate it. If you don't mind, give me a little heads up, just a little howdy-ho there, Jason Davis Podcast. That'd be fine. We'll see if that works. I don't know. Anyways, once again, here we are. The political winds are blowing left and right, and the media is reporting all things, every single thing there is to report anti-Trump. But wait, they hate it when I do this. I have found the smoking gun. In all actuality, I found a couple of smoking guns, and this is going to really kind of upset a few people out there.
You can't handle the truth!
Yes, those that can't handle the truth, you will be hearing the truth. See, I normally do podcasts in relation to local politics, like driving on the beach in Volusia County, the Volusia County Council, and how they want to ban this or that, or how they're raising taxes locally, and on and on and on and on. To the point of really ad nauseam. Sometimes it just gets really annoying. But in the immortal words of the late, great Ronald Reagan, President of the United States, he said, just remember, all government is local. That's right. All government is local, which is why I started this podcast, to discuss local politics in cities and counties and, in the area. But this also pertains to everybody nationally, too. So we do get all over the countryside here. So this pertains to all of Volusia County residents, Florida residents, and the citizens of the United States. That's right. So back to the subject matter at hand. That's right. Back to where we're at, the smoking guns, plural, because there's a couple of them out there. So first off, let's hit the Wayback Machine, Mr. Peabody, and go back to the year 2015, somewhere around March 25th and March 31st. And special thanks to Wikipedia, because they have a semi-accurate timeline as to what happened on that date in 2015. March 25 to 31, somewhere in there. And according to Wikipedia, I'm going to condense this for you, of course, because it's very lengthy and wordy paragraphs and such. Somewhere between March 25th and March 31st, Mr. Mills of Platte River Networks deleted over 30,000 Hillary Clinton emails at the order of her campaign. And this is where Hillary Clinton had her classified emails stored on a private server when she was Secretary of State. And remember, it was a server next to a bathroom. Yeah. It's been estimated there's been well over 30,000 emails that were deleted. Oh, and by the way, this was also after the United States Congress subpoenaed her emails to look into the issue of having classified documentation on an unclassified or protected server. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, she destroyed evidence in an investigation by Congress. What? Can you say obstruction of justice?
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now let's jump forward a little bit to June 27th, of 2016. And it was a clear and warm evening on the 27th of July between the hours of 7 and 8 p.m. somewhere on the west side of the Phoenix, Arizona Sky Harbor Airport. Yes. Here's the crazy question. What was Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General for Barack Obama, doing here and just so happening to run into Bill Clinton, the ex-president of the United States, also known as the husband of Hillary Clinton? He was also there at the airport at the exact same time? Let me just say this about all of that, folks. The Attorney General of the United States and the next president and the ex-president of the United States do not meet with people unless it's been priorly set up, folks. You got to get a meeting with them. You've got to go through staff. You got all kinds of crazy stuff. And I don't care who you are. I mean, if the president wants to meet with Bill Barr, his staff has to arrange it with him, with his staff. I mean, staff has got to talk. Even the president and vice president, staff has to, set up the meeting because everybody's a busy, busy people. And how do I know this? Well, I was an elected official in Volusia County, and I did meet with anybody. But I didn't get to meet with anybody and everybody on the street, though, unless we had a predetermined meeting date, time, and location. Otherwise, you spend your entire day running all over the county, meeting and talking with people about things that are just not pertinent to the situations at the time, or things that are coming up to be voted on. It's you spend a lot of time dealing with law. You'll spend a lot of time really dealing with lost cats and dogs, or house issues, or whatever's on their mind. I mean, I'm on the beach working on an agenda item about driving on the beach, and somebody comes up and says, I lost my dog when the dog catcher can't find it, and all this. You get all that stuff. So it's called proper time management. And every staff of every elected official does this, so their elected official does not get bogged down with things that are not on our agenda or up for a vote in the near future. It's just the way things are done to keep everything running a little smoother. So somebody's going to say they just happily ran into each other by happenstance. I think you are, well, let's just say you need to go to the bathroom a little bit more because you're full of something. Yet here we are having an impromptu meeting on an airport on the tarmac at 7 or 8 p.m. at night in the 100-degree plus heat. Yes, it's quite hot. And both Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton said they talked about their grandchildren. Okay. Yeah, right. I was born at night, but it sure wasn't last night, folks. No one can even come close to convincing me that Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch talked about their grandchildren on a tarmac for 40 minutes plus. Of course, we now know that the State Department Inspector General to the report and the FBI investigated and blah, 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 Hillary. And lo and behold, surprise to everybody in the country and the world, Hillary Clinton was not charged with the Espionage Act or any crime whatsoever for leaking secure documents or classified information. That's what happened after the meeting on the tarmac. Oh, sorry about that, folks. It just drives you crazy sometimes. Some of this, the way it's so convoluted, but I'm getting to that. There's part of a smoking gun. So Donald Trump is elected as president of the United States in 2016. Fact. Everything else I've told you here is also fact. 1 to 2 days later, the House Democrats start screaming impeach. Yes. And they have been crying and screaming it ever since the day of election, that chilly November day, yes. But then again, unless you have lived under a rock for the past 3.5 or so years, you already know this. And I love this part. But wait, there's more, because this is national politics, there's always more. And here is one of the smoking guns that I have found.
Let's get ready to rumble!
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get ready to rumble because I found it. It took some time, but we did find something. This is from June 22nd, 2017. 2 days after Donald Trump was sworn in as President of the United States on January 20th, 2017. Guess who we have here on tape? We actually have a video of her. This is Nancy Pelosi speaking as the House Minority Leader on her weekly briefing. So what, you may say? Well, now listen carefully, very carefully. You have to understand, Donald Trump was just sworn in 2 days ago. And this is the Minority Leader, Nancy Pelosi, doing her weekly briefing and laying out, yes, premeditatedly their plans for trying to impeach a president of the United States, no matter what cost. And let me tell you, folks, he'd only been in office for 2 days. This was before the Mueller report. This was before investigations. This was before special counsel. This was before all of that garbage started up 2 days in office.
Fulfilling prophecy. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic, and it's self-evident.
Yeah, it's a tactic, and it's their agenda. The wrap-up smear, folks. That's what this is all about. This is all just a wrap-up smear. They just such a hatred for a president. In all of my life, and I've been around a couple of years, I've never ever seen so much hatred for a single president. There are no conservatives in this world that I know of that actually appreciated, Mr. Obama being a president. He was the worst president that we've ever had. He put us into massive debt that it's going to take us centuries to get out of, literally. $10 trillion. But you know what? This is crazy. This has been the Democrats' playbook from day one, literally. They pushed their agenda as hard as they could to find anything to remove a duly elected president of the United States. Quite an eye-opener, isn't it? So they've actually tried to follow through with their agenda and their playbook to remove Donald J. Trump as president of the United States. And as I have said in the previous podcasts, like everything else they're doing up there, they have failed. They have failed to do really anything in Congress whatsoever. But wait. There's still more. Today's date is October 2nd. That's the day I'm recording this, 2019. And today at approximately 11 o'clock, Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff had a joint press conference to speak about what's going on in Congress. It was almost, I should get the other one, one of the sound bites out of the old file there, but it was like a circus. It was really ridiculous. The mentally afflicted Nancy Pelosi, and I'm going to say mentally afflicted because she has an issue, folks. She can't get names right. She stutters. She stammers. She doesn't have her facts straight. She was just a mess. Her hands are swinging all over the place. Her fingers are stiff as boards, and she slurs. This is crazy. She needs, as an American citizen, I'm going to just say this. I think she needs to see a doctor to make sure everything's okay because I'm not convinced that it is. So she needs to see a doctor. But so here we are. October 2019, Nancy Pelosi is up there, the Speaker of the House, speaking about how they're going to now we're going to address prescription costs, gun control, immigration laws, securing the government, building military, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Now, according to Speaker Pelosi, Congress is going to address all of these things just like they promised you to do 2 years ago. Can we say you've been lied to, folks? They promised this on the campaign trail 2 years ago, and they've done nothing but chase Donald Trump around and say, we're going to impeach for 2 years. Actually, more than that. Holy moly.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
And they continue to lie because they are just trying to push their agenda that the Speaker spoke of just a few minutes ago, which I will replay later. Their only focus for the past 3.5 years has been remove the President of the United States from office. That's it. They've had no intentions of doing anything except that because they're trying to throw up the smoke and mirrors so you, the American people, would think they're actually out there doing their job. Well, they're not. You want to know something really funny about all this, folks? And this is the other part of the smoking gun. The Lamestream Media has been their little patsy for the past 3.5 years. That's what... there's actually a website out there called... Actually, it's a Facebook page. It's called the Truthification Chronicles. This is where I found that a video with Miss Pelosi speaking. And it took the sound bites off of it just for this podcast. They even have a definition for the word truthification. Truth, and it's not a real word, folks. I've looked in dictionaries. I cannot find the word truthification, but you know what? I'm thinking that if we use it enough, truthification will become part of our vernacular and we can get it into the dictionary, I'm going to push that. Truthification. I love the word. But they give you a definition. Truthification is the act of creating a false statement or lie and marketing it as the truth to outside sources, for example, the media, through leaks and interviews and sound bites, and pushing it so hard and emphasizing it so much as to make it to be believed as the truth. In other words, they're making up stuff. And then they, as you heard, they market it to the media, and the media then runs with it, and they put it up there, and they write news stories and report on it, and then you, the citizen that's uninformed, and then not all of us are uninformed, but the uninformed citizen sees that and goes, oh my gosh, look, it's true, this has happened, and it's not. And then when they, see, before, they wouldn't have anybody that would sit there and say, what are you doing? No, before everybody would just kind of cow down to it and just say, okay, whatever. I don't want to make any waves. But you know what? You got somebody with some brass, Donald J. Trump, and he ain't sitting back and he ain't taking anything from anybody. So I do not know who runs this website, but man, I thank them for reaching out in the archives and finding this kind of information. They actually got it from C-SPAN, and now everybody's looking at this because it's starting to go around the internet. C-SPAN, of all places, they put it there. It's still there in the archives, and it was really great. But you know what? If you don't have it now, you might not have it because they'll probably take it down. They're going to delete that because it doesn't show a good, this is something the speaker said, and, they're just going to cycle it out. So you got to be careful. You got it? You want it? You better go get it now. And so basically, the Lamestream Media has been their marketing corporations, CBS, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, and all the other periodicals that are being printed. You've all been played. You have been played, guys. You've been duped by the Democratic Party into believing that what the Democrats have wanted you to believe. They have not been going to the American citizens because they've been going to the media. And they've been marketing this to the media. And here's a funny thing about your little the whistleblower. His footnotes are the media. So Pelosi and Schiff and all their little fan base there in the Democratic Party, they market this to the media. The media turns around and puts it out there, and then somebody as a whistleblower grabs that information, puts it on a whistleblower report, and drops it off. Guess where it goes to? It goes to Adam Schiff's office, which it did 2 days after it was written, which was August 12th, as hearsay and secondhand information. See the vicious cycle? They're feeding themselves. It's kind of funny. So, it's really been funny that they actually recorded it and left it there for anybody to listen to. So, yeah, that's C-SPAN. So, CBS, NBC, CNN, MSNBC, all you guys, you Lamestream Media guys, the Times, everybody, you've been played. How's that feel? So, in case you missed it the first time, I'm going to go ahead, as I have promised you, and I will replay the agenda of the Democrats to get rid of the President of the United States. And you Lamestream Media folks out there, all you people out there that are part of the media outlets that go to this stuff, you need to really listen to this. Listen to it hard. It's what happened. It's recorded. It's in the archives of C-SPAN. So pay attention again, kiddies, because here it comes.
Fulfilling problem. You demonize, and then we call it the wrap-up smear. If you want to talk politics, you call it the wrap-up smear. You smear somebody with falsehoods and all the rest, and then you merchandise it. And then you write it, and they'll say, see, it's reported in the press that this, and this. So they have that validation that the press reported the smear, and then it's called the wrap-up smear. Now I'm going to merchandise the press's report on the smear that we made. And it's a tactic. And it's self-evident.
Wow. Right from the horse's mouth. So remember, folks, you have been warned, and they have been following through with this plan for 3+ years. So that's why people like me, and I'm going to say a couple other guys, I'm just a little podcaster guy here in the Iron Bunker in West Volusia County, Florida. I don't, but I have access to the internet, and I do check these facts. Matter of fact, wanted to do this podcast earlier, but I mean, there was so much data, so much information out there that I couldn't get to it. I had to do the research, and we do the research. Rush Limbaugh does the research. Sean Hannity does the research. The Five on Fox, they do the research. Responsible members of the media do research. So just remember that. So here we go again with another attempt. Once again, their marketing attempt to go ahead and try to push impeachment of the President of the United States from a whistleblower report, which was absolutely false.
There you go again.
So thank you, Ronnie. So kind of funny how they've been, trying to do that. And you know what? There's reporting about how he's violating the Constitution. Well, you know what? Kind of funny how they do that, because they're violating the Constitution, even though they're saying they're trying to preserve it. This is the Dems, and folks, you can read it, you can look it up. These are facts. And here's Article 1, Congress. Is Article 1 of the Congress of the United States. It's actually Article 1, Section 9 of the United States Constitution. Congress is prohibited from passing a ex post facto law by Clause 3 of Article 1, Section 9. And also, the states are prohibited from passing an ex facto laws by Clause 1, Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution. So what's post ex facto law? Post ex facto laws are laws that are made after the fact. After a situation or a crime has been committed and there is no law about it, or there is a law, they can update the law. Or if there is, as I just said, a law that is made post ex facto, which, by the way, for you Latinese people, it means from a thing done forward. It is not retroactive. Not by 1 day, 1 week, not 1 minute of the passing of that rule. Congress has made a post ex facto law and is trying to implement that law in the relationship to the whistleblower, who has nothing but secondhand information, or as legally known as hearsay, folks. It's hearsay. They're trying to make it retroactive and make secondhand information or hearsay admissible for the whistleblower when it's not in the rules of order. You cannot, and even in the rules of jurisprudence, you cannot use secondhand information or hearsay in a court of law. They're all lawyers up there. What the heck is their problem? By the way, their new ruling was made after the whistleblower report came out. What? The Dickens, you say? No, I'm not speaking Charles Dickens.
I'm as stupid as a stupid does.
We're going to have to change that to the Gump, you say. Yes, the Gump, I say, because they're stupid. You don't make a law about being able to use secondhand information or hearsay and then make it retroactive to the day when the report was written. It's wrong. That's wrong. That would be like making jaywalking a criminal offense today, and because you jaywalked 3 years ago, they arrest you and charge you with a criminal jaywalking and go to prison for something you did 3 years ago, which wasn't a law. It was not a fine. It wasn't a crime in those days. So therefore, their own admission, they're breaking the Constitution. They're disregarding their own rules and their own procedures and everything. I mean, it's just, it's ridiculous what they're doing up there. So anyways, I'm moving on. So my friends, neighbors, and fellow citizens of the United States, it's time. Let's just make it what it is. It's time to get rid of the deadwood up there in Congress. The people that are there just to collect a paycheck, the people that are that do not make or doing the will, wishes, and desires of the American citizen. It's time to clean the house, folks. It's time for us, the American citizens, to help the President of the United States, who is following the law and the rule and the Constitution. It's time for us, to help him and drain that swamp. I do not care who you are. I do not care what side of the aisle you sit on. I do not care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, Greenpeace, or any other sub-party up there in Congress. If you're not doing your job, if you're not supporting the Constitution, if you are not defending the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and believe me, some of the Democrats in Congress are the domestic problem, you need to go. So now that I've completed my rants and raves here, but you know what the terrible thing about all this is, folks? Here it is, and this is what the left side of the aisle will tell you. We don't want to hear the facts. We're just going to go on. We're just going to go on whatever we got because we don't rely on the facts, and those are the facts. I think it's time for all of us to start doing a little research on these people. And I could sit here and probably name out about 10 of them that need to go anyways, and thank goodness none of them represent my state. So I think it's time for all of us, folks, really, really, truly time to start using a little common sense.